Good.
Is that all right?
That's great.
Was that too much?
No.
You're laughing. Like,
No, I'm
like
digging
so
it.
much. Yeah,
I'm
all
digging it.
Live on YouTube.
I'm a big fan of this.
Right, me too. I'm a big fan of so many things.
I literally say that all the time.
That's literally the only thing I ever say.
Mm-hmm.
Live on Facebook.
I'm just always saying how big of a fan I am of so many things.
2 notifications from YouTube. The Catholic Man Show has gone live twice.
The Catholic Man Show is going crazy.
Juan wants me back.
Because one live video is not enough. Here at the Catholic Man Show, we go live twice.
We do picture-in-a-picture.
Exactly. Because I want to listen to the radio and watch TV at the same time. Because I like to party.
I know for a fact you don't like to party.
I'm the party guy.
I am here to give you the assurance that I have not forgotten you.
If we want to see the new evangelization become more than just jargon, if we want to see it grow legs and gain traction and change the world, we have got to take seriously our responsibilities as husbands and fathers, and especially as sons of God.
I want to propose to you then that something that our world is desperately in need of in the midst of this crisis is Catholic Christian masculinity.
If you want to be a good father, then bring your children to confession with you.
I can't get there unless I become a man of ascesis, a man of asceticism, a man of training.
A man not doing penance, a man not disciplined is not a man.
You guys have upped your game.
You know what, guys? I gotta say, I love the concept of Man Show.
Warning: the Catholic Man Show is about to begin.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. We're on the Lord's team, the winning side, so raise your glass. Juan, you need to have track 4 on Cubase turned on. That's my mic. There we go. Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. We're on the Lord's team, the winning side, so raise your glass. Adam Minahan here, sitting in studio with David Niles.
Hello.
Juan on the buttons. Jim at the door. It's good to have everybody back. Good to be together.
Yes, I know. I'm also excited about just like doing an episode with us.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done just an episode of that.
Yeah,
with
I know.
us.
When I walked in, there was only 2 chairs here at the desk.
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, we used to do it that way.
Yeah, back in the day.
Right, and we still do, like we're doing it tonight.
We are going.
I'm excited about our episode today. A lot of
the Eucharist.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about the Eucharist. We have a special drink that Juan doesn't even know about. He's currently drinking part of it, but we're gonna do something. I think it's gonna blow his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And Juan is like one of those people. It's really good to blow his mind.
Yeah. Also, pretty easy.
Right, pretty easy. A lot of outward, it's very satisfying. You get a lot of payoff.
Yeah.
When you blow his mind.
If your wife becomes pregnant, that's the easiest.
Don't tell him.
Yeah. In public.
You might, end up hurt.
Yeah. He may spear you.
Right.
Spearhead.
One time I remember we were driving
back
to Kansas.
To Kansas.
To Kansas to go see Scott Hahn.
Right.
In Kimberly Hahn speak.
Yeah.
And were we all in a van?
We were all in my old
Escalade.
Tahoe.
Was it your back?
No, Tahoe. It was my old Tahoe.
You had a Tahoe? When did you have a Tahoe?
Well, Haley did.
Oh, okay.
It was Haley's.
Okay, anyway, you had an Escalade, so I thought maybe it was your Escalade for a while. You used to be way bigger of a baller than you are now.
Oh, I know.
You're not a baller.
Well.
But anyway, I just remember sitting in the back, I was in the very back row in the middle, kind of like what you call the ejector seat in the back, right? Because captain's chair's in the front.
Right.
And Pamela and I...
we were all very newly married.
Newly married, right? All of us. Pamela and I are in the back. We were very newly married.
Dude, we had nothing to do. That's why we went to Kansas.
We could all just hey, you want to drive to Kansas?
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what? I don't have to get babysitters.
There's zero responsibilities at home.
Right.
We can just leave.
We just abandon where we live and go do whatever we want.
We're just
on a Tuesday.
Yeah, we're like Han Solo. You know, we could just go anywhere.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about. Anyway, we're in the back seat, and we make the announcement, like, we're having a baby. And, like, Juan, he's deceptively swift sometimes, you know. And
You mean for how big I am?
No, I just mean that, like, most of the time you're pretty chill, you know, like, you're not a spastic person. Like, some people, you know, are like, whoa, like, you just never know. You know what I mean? He's not, like, hyperactive, Juan. But all of a sudden, like, we say it, the words, like, I can almost still see the words moving through the air. We're having a baby, you know, and, like, that word is going, and here he comes. It's like, how did he get his seatbelt off that quickly?
Right.
And he's like coming at me, and I just remember going like, "Oh no!" And he like,
I about wrecked.
If you can be tackled while you're seatbelted into like a chair, that's what happened to me. It was, but it was a really great moment. Like
it's like an airbag going off.
Right. So yeah, it's like a Colombian airbag.
Venezuelan right in your face.
Right. It's really great.
Yeah, so we'll do that. We're talking about the Eucharist. We're going to win on pilgrimage in like a month, dude. It's like in a month.
I know. I'm so excited about it. I cannot wait.
Fun fact, I
like fun facts.
Yeah, the travel, Select International Tours,
Yes.
let us know that they can actually get a couple more people on pilgrimage.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah, even though it's last minute, they said they could still do it. They said,
okay, because it's closed. We're officially closed. We do have a couple spaces left.
Yeah, and so they were like,
so we can actually sell them.
Yeah, they said, don't make a big deal about it.
Like,
I'm not, which
like,
I'm not.
Don't,
I'm not,
like, for instance, mention it on the show.
Right.
You know, where we might have a bunch of people trying to do it. The land is probably first come, first serve, you know. So, like, if you want to do it, you should probably email Adam at stmichaelradio.com. Like, don't do that.
Right.
Because that would probably cause a lot of problems.
Right.
If we did that.
But.
Okay, so we'll do it some other way then.
We'll put our heads together and figure something out.
Adam at stmichaelradio.com.
Yes, that is my actual email.
Or you could email it to David at stmichaelradio.com, and I'll make sure to forward it to him. This is only funny because it's just so true.
It's so true.
It's so true.
So, hey, I got to tell you something.
You're pregnant.
Actually, Haley is pregnant.
Oh, my gosh!
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, Haley is pregnant.
You know, when you said that, I reflexed, and I like, when I said it, I was like, oh, crap. Because I already knew that.
You already knew that.
But I didn't mean to out you, bro. Yeah. I'm very sorry.
You want to end up getting a liar.
I just had
I wasn't like after our moral like lying show with Brian B song. It's like
you could have said no. That's not what I was gonna say. But I didn't.
I just panicked.
Right. Just the way you said that, my reflex was like, "You're pregnant," as a joke. Then it was not a joke. Congratulations, bro. We're so happy for you.
We
Number
are
5.
Number 5. Yes, we're very excited.
It's a good year for 5, I think.
Yeah, you're having your 5th.
Juan.
Yeah, Juan's next.
I do my best.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but you could try to squeeze a baby in.
Yeah.
The next few months. Like I said, miracles.
I'll have to go right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be a lot.
Sorry, guys.
It has to be like definitely right now. Anyway.
Yeah, so that is. But now my other story is not near as cool.
It'll still be cool though. It'll still be cool.
Leo got in a fight with a rooster.
Okay.
That was what I was going to tell you.
Who won?
More entertaining. Who did win?
You know what the rooster did?
Yeah.
The rooster got like he has like these huge marks on right by his eye. Like the rooster. So there was 2 roosters. One of them left. Like got moved to another place
for fighting, probably.
I don't know, maybe. But so then the pecking order obviously changed, right? And so the roosters.
Chickens are ruthless.
Trying to figure out the pecking order. Leo sees all the chickens. He loves chickens. Big fan, especially
they come over to our house.
Right,
and
he goes
like,
over there.
Oh, he loves the chickens.
Right, so he goes running up there. Well, the rooster takes this as like a challenge.
This is a big rooster. Because Leo, like
he's 2.
He's 2, right? He's still pretty low to the ground,
right?
You know.
So the rooster like bows up to him, like does the whole, that's a turkey, but it's kind of like the.
It was more turkey, but I know what you're getting at.
But yeah, like where he gets up and like kind of flies a little bit and takes his talons.
Yeah.
And like kicks him up, smokes Leo in the face.
I'm glad his eyes are okay.
Yeah, but this scratch was literally like it starts like right there at the eye socket and goes back. But he looks tough.
His guardian angel was like, cover the eyes.
Yeah, he looks tough right now.
Sweet, man.
So, but he did not.
I mean,
I don't,
sort of.
I don't think he won.
Now that it's over.
Yeah, I don't
Sweet.
I don't think he won, but he did.
Let's be honest. He didn't win.
Right.
I'll bet he didn't land anything on the rooster.
No, but no, unfortunately.
It sounds like it's very one-sided.
Yeah, it was. It was an uneven match.
When a lover comes into when he like walks into a boxing rink and he doesn't even know what a boxing rink is.
Right.
Doesn't go very well.
Didn't go very well, especially when it's a ring and not a rink.
You're right, but it could be on ice.
Yeah, you're right. So, what are we drinking this evening?
What? Whoa, hello.
You just went. Your mic just went out. What are we drinking this evening, Dave? We are.
I just pulled my microphone cable out. Can you imagine boxing on ice? Like a boxing rink, a real boxing rink.
You mean hockey?
Yeah, but like that would be a sport. Have you ever seen chess boxing? That's something we could talk about another time.
I would like to see
I would
that.
like to challenge you to a chess.
I watched a chess boxing match.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yes, on ESPN 8, the Ocho, a few years ago when
Wow.
ESPN turned ESPN 2. They
still have the Ocho.
Yeah, but it was ESPN 2, one of their main ESPN channels. For a day, they turned it into ESPN 8, the Ocho, which is a dodgeball reference.
Yeah.
And so they had like roller derby, they had chess boxing, which what you do is you have a round of boxing and then you sit down, take the gloves off, sit down, have a speed chess match.
Wow.
Put the gloves back on, another round of boxing, and they talk about like how difficult it is to try to play chess, and like the chess game is worth just as much as winning the boxing round.
I gotta tell you, I think I would dominate both of you.
I think you'd be well suited for that game.
Yeah.
Now I think in the speed chess, I can beat you at chess most of the time.
Yes.
I think at speed chess, I have an even greater advantage.
I do too.
But I think I'd probably lose all the boxing matches.
But if we could start with boxing first,
right,
it would really help me.
That would be that might change the game a little bit, right?
So anyway,
I would try to kick
Hey,
you.
what are we drinking?
I would try to kick you.
Yeah, that's illegal.
We're having old fashions today.
We haven't had a mixed drink in forever.
I know, but we're going to take a spin on the old fashioned, which we'll do right on the other side of the break.
Really?
Yes. It's going to blow Juan's mind.
Can't wait. All right.
You know what he's going to do? He's going to go, ah!
Yeah, he always does that when he gets excited. We're going to talk about the Eucharist as well. So stick around because we're going to really dive into like the Jewish roots of the Eucharist even.
Yes. Fun facts about the Eucharist. reverent fun facts.
Setting apart.
They're gonna be the holiest fun facts.
We'll be right back.
Well, I need uno más because I already drank mine.
Well, why don't we start the episode?
No, let me hook them up first.
Okay.
That's what I figured it was gonna make a lot of noise. That's why I said to do it now.
Why'd you hand that to him?
So I asked.
Yeah, I'll take that. I need that actually. Thank you.
Hold
that for me.
I love how Juan
Scalpel.
didn't miss a beat. He was just like, "Yep, this is now my job. I am going to hold this."
Ice.
Yeah.
Simple syrup.
Well done.
I asked Leo if he was gonna eat chicken today for lunch, and he gave
He goes,
adamant no.
Yeah, he said no. But it's so funny when you ask him now because he'll be like, "No, chicken went to timeout."
Chickens are the worst. I hate those things. Now he's going to think all chickens are roosters, like for a while.
Yeah.
Too bad.
It was pretty funny, though. Also, Luke got a chance to shoot a 223. My AR.
Did he?
Yeah.
How did he do? How did he do?
He did really well.
You have iron sights?
Yeah, iron sights. He did really well insofar as he shot the gun,
like appropriately.
Appropriately.
Let's do one first.
I'm not saying that he did bad. I'm just saying, he wasn't super on target.
Yeah, of course not.
But
that's fun though.
Yeah.
But where
I'll bet he was just glowing.
We're out in southeast Oklahoma.
I'll bet he was just glowing.
Oh yeah, because he thinks he is now ready for deer season.
Right, he's ready to do anything.
Right. So that's gonna be great.
Okay, light it up, Juan. Light it up.
That was a little excessively loud.
Sorry. Are your headphones up too high?
No.
Just me.
Just you.
Okay.
It's not me, it's you.
I think you're right. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles here with Adam Minahan. We're about to get a little crazy with some of these old fashions. Obviously in moderation, because that's what we always do here on the Catholic Man Show. But today we are going to be smoking some old fashions.
Before
And
you do,
I mean
can you
that
describe what an old fashioned is?
An old fashioned is a great drink. Like if you are a gentleman and you're at a place where, it's like, all right, you're not going to order, you want to order a drink, right? Apart from scotch, which you could always order, right? But sometimes in certain situations, it's more appropriate, like if you're at a cocktail dinner, for instance. Other people are drinking cocktails, you want to have a cocktail as well. Old fashioned is a great go-to. It's a bourbon drink. So today we're having Weller's Special Reserve as our...
Which I'm a big fan of the... Okay, so here's the difference, I think, for Adam.
Okay.
On whiskey when it comes to old fashions.
Okay.
Weller's is a wheated whiskey, right? And so it's not going to be harsh. It's not going to be... it's going to be a little sweeter.
Yeah.
A lot of people do like rye whiskey, like a bullet rye whiskey.
Yep. Which I like that too.
Which is more aggressive, and so it really reminds you when you have a rye whiskey that you're actually drinking something with bourbon. When you drink a wheated whiskey like we're having tonight, it is much, it's much smoother.
It's sweeter.
It's sweeter.
It's very sweet.
Right.
So what we're dealing with here is it's ice, simple syrup, 2 teaspoons of simple syrup, a shot of whiskey, orange, and 2 dashes of bitters. Sometimes, and some ice.
Yeah,
sometimes people put a little water in there as well, but it's a really great drink. It's a whiskey drink, so it's a gentleman's drink. Ladies like it too. It's just really good. It's my go-to. It's my go-to in those cocktail situations.
Okay. So now what are we gonna do
today?
So this is the first time we've had a man gear.
We have a man gear today, which we haven't had in a long time.
We used to do on the show a drink gear whiskey or drink gear topic.
We have a cocktail smoker. This is the man gear today.
Okay.
Eche cocktail smoker. Okay, the lid comes off. Inside is a little screen, and I already have some wood chips in here. Today we're using apple wood chips. I ordered this on Amazon. It was about $30. Came with 4 types of wood. We have apple, oak, cherry, and pecan.
I appreciate you saying it that way.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you, and you're welcome.
Yeah, it's like all sorts of pleasantries.
You will need a lighter like this, like one of
torch
these
lighter.
Torch lighters. You cannot use a regular lighter. You need
you'll burn yourself.
This kind of thing, because you need to like kind of press the smoke down, and
so it goes. It's a piece of wood that sits on top of your glass. The smoke will pull through a hole where the screen has the wood on top.
Right. And so basically, what we're going to do is we're just going to fill this glass with smoke, and it's just going to sit there for about a minute. And it's incredible, especially even I've done this when I got it. I was doing it with mostly just whiskey, scotch, and bourbon, and it was amazing how much smoke gets absorbed
in just a
from
minute.
the alcohol. It's even more when you have a drink like this that has sugar in it. Okay, so the sugar is very sticky, and so it's going to absorb.
Okay,
it's going to really pick up a lot of the smoky
adhere
flavor
to the smoke. Okay, I like that. So you just give it a little burn.
So yeah, and like we're just really trying to create smoke. So I'm going to really torch the wood. It's not. Don't worry about over burning it because we're burning it. Okay, we're not.
When you see the smoke going down into the glass, that's pretty cool.
You've
seen these fancy cocktail bars where they do this, right?
Yeah. So if you go to a bar, a fancy bar, beware. They might charge you as much as $30 for this cocktail.
Because it takes them a while to do, probably.
Well,
time is
typically
money.
They'll smoke it in front of you because it's more of like fancy,
Right.
So, but just the fact that hey, this is a unique thing.
Takes time.
Is it worth $30?
No.
No, but it is very cool. So now let's put this thing on.
Okay. the cap. The thing that he's saying is a cap that goes on
there's
top.
a cap. Yeah. So for those who are on the radio or on the podcast, this might be something for you to go and check out the YouTube video, just because. Here, Juan, take this. This is yours. So hold it on. Set the glass down, and then slide the cap off. Don't pull it off. Slide the cap off.
Very good. Very good.
So that
focus.
So slide.
Now or do I wait?
Yeah, you can go ahead and do it now. And that will keep the smoke in there for a little bit longer. Don't pull it off. Slide it off. No. I'm sorry, not the cap. I mean the whole thing. The whole thing. Yeah, just slide it off. There you go.
There you go. It doesn't have to be slow.
Now give it back to me.
Very good.
Okay, so now I'm going to keep going for this.
Okay.
Adam, I'm going to do yours next.
Okay. Very cool.
But it is so this is just so much fun because you can add your own smoke to anything.
It's also just a cool party trick.
It's not this was not expensive. These wood chips, they're going to last me a long time, okay? It is a really cool party thing to be able to do if you're going to be making cocktails especially.
I have a feeling Michael Foley from Drinking with the Saints would really like this.
Yeah, possibly. Now, I will tell you, we experimented with Lafroig. The benefit of adding smoke to an already very smoky whiskey, no. I didn't like it. My brother-in-law also didn't like it. It just wasn't a good effect. It was already so smoky. First of all, it didn't add a whole lot. And what it did add, it was too much, So this is something I would really recommend for a Highland that you want to smoke up, or just anything that's not smoky that you want to make smoky. I haven't tried water. I think that would be a little gross. Smoky water. I don't want to drink that.
Apple juice.
Okay, apple juice might, a little bit, just a touch.
What if you did that and then
Don't
put it
overdo
into your smoker to smoke with your brisket?
I don't know. That could be awesome, right?
I don't know.
Chocolate milk.
Hey, chocolate milk, yeah. So while you're doing that, I want to talk a little bit about. I want to give a shout out to the guys who've been supporting us on Patreon.com/The Catholic Man Show, our patrons. I gave a kind of a call to action, I guess, recently on several of our episodes. We just released a book by Ascension Press called Living Beyond Sunday, Making Your Home a Holy Place. This book is geared towards those who are building up their domestic church, who are trying their best to live their Catholic faith outside of the church. So whether you are newly married, you're intending on getting married, new couples, or even those who are grandparents who are trying to pass on the faith to their grandchildren. This is a good book that's very practical. We actually made it very short. We only made it about 100 pages, a little over 100 pages, because we didn't want to make it a long book. So it's very practical. It's very just meaty for the book. And so one of the things that we've done, as we've said on the show before, the money that we get on Patreon, we don't take for ourselves, right? So we only roll that back into the show. So what we would really like to do is have a kind of a marketing campaign, so to speak, for this book, because we think it's going to really help a lot of young Catholics. And so by becoming a patron, what we're really doing is helping us promote this book, helping us to reach the young Catholics who are trying to live out their faith and grow their domestic church in their home. So
I'm also really proud of the book.
I am too. Dude, you know what's awesome about the book? The cover.
Yeah, you know why?
Why?
I know why.
Why?
Tell me why, Adam.
Because
you designed it. That's why. Ascension Press told us we've never had an author actually come up with a good cover before. So they were super impressed that it's you guys came up with this cover. Well, I didn't come up with it. You did. We actually put it out to our Patreon. Our patrons a long time ago, 2 years ago. Got some feedback from them, which is cool. I'm glad we did that.
Yeah, me too. So, anyway, you can go pre-order it right now. Also, it makes really good for nice play, Jim. It makes really good for marriage prep classes. If you want to have an evening, one of the things that's really cool, Father Brian O'Brien, an awesome priest in the Diocese of Tulsa, who's been on the show many times, he's going to have us out into to Stillwater for a Catholic marriage date night, where we're going to go out there. We're going to talk about the book and stuff, but it's going to be a nice dinner. Obviously going to have childcare, and we're going to talk about it, but then it's also just a time for couples to have a date night. And so, if you're looking to maybe have a Catholic date night at your parish, you can order that book, maybe go through it, talk about it, and have a nice dinner and be lovely.
All right, Juan, have you tried it yet?
I was waiting patiently.
Oh, Juan, I'm impressed.
Temperance.
Okay, so let's go ahead and try it because the segment's almost over.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right.
And I'll join you in just a second.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Noticeable difference, right?
Yeah.
I'll cheers him for you, Juan.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cheers, Gene.
Like, it's just a nice,
smoky,
subtle, and it works really well with the cocktail, right? Because there's, especially an old fashioned, it's very sweet. So the smoky is kind of not a sweet flavor. So I think it balances out that.
That's nice.
I'm just impressed with how much of the smoke actually is absorbed into the drink. And one thing I was at first wondering was, is it just like going to be here at the for a little bit, and then like is it just the top layer? No, it lasts the whole time.
Nice.
So it's really, really cool. This is something like if you've got a bar, and you like to make drinks for someone, this is just a cool thing to have in the repertoire that you can easily get out. Like, oh, you want an old fashioned? Like, can I smoke it for you? It's not like you got to set it up. Right, just get it out, put it on top, and it just takes an extra like minute or two to do.
Awesome.
So it's a cocktail smoker. You can find a bunch of them on Amazon, or hopefully you can find it. Even better would be to find it in a local store. If you got a store that
brick and mortar
might sell that kind of thing.
Wow. All right, so we're gonna talk about the Eucharist when we get back.
The Eucharist.
Can't wait. We'll be right back.
And it really took me aback.
You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very cool, huh?
Yes.
It's like it went right to the back of my mouth. Like I thought I was gonna feel it in the tip of my tongues, and then sneak back. And
you have multiple tongues?
Yes.
Just like his trims.
That is impressive.
So many trims.
Yeah, I just don't even know how. I don't even know about that.
Well, you better get used to it.
I'm good. I don't even know. Don't need to know.
Oh yeah. It gets back.
It's nice.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's keep rolling. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. Trying this smoky old fashioned this evening. Old fashioned is the drink. The gear this evening has been this cocktail smoker that Dave just demonstrated. If you are listening on the radio or you are on our podcast, go check us out on YouTube. The YouTubes. We had YouTube come out and film this.
Nice.
To see what happened. So we're going to talk about the Eucharist this evening.
Indeed. The Eucharist is the source and summit of our Catholic faith.
This is the language of the church.
Without the Eucharist, there would be no reason to be Christian. Juan is just it's a delayed mind blow that Juan is having over there.
Somebody said in the comments, sipping in tongues.
Sipping in tongues. Yes. Because
that really tickled Juan.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so a lot of what we're going to be talking today is coming from a book that I really cannot recommend enough. And if you know me personally, I've probably recommended this book to you at least 5 times, which is Jesus and the Jewish Roots of the Eucharist, written by the one and only Brant Petrie, Dr. Brant Petrie. This is like one of those books that when you read it, you cannot cease to be anything other than Catholic. Like, you just can't be another version of Christian. Ooh, perfect. It's out of focus, so let's bring it back a little bit. There we go. See that? That's even better. So like you can't be, you realize that the Catholic faith is the church established by Christ. And why? Because other churches, they don't have the Eucharist. And the Eucharist is what Christ came to do. Like that was the purpose of his mission, aside from like he came to redeem us, but his redemption, our redemption, his redeeming act on the cross is you cannot separate it from the gift of the Eucharist that he came to give us. And so like one thing we're going to like work towards today is that how is the Eucharist linked to the cross? The crucifixion and the Eucharist, you know, as Catholics, as when I was growing up, I knew that like, okay, somehow they're linked, but it's like whatever that means, you know, like how is the Eucharist and the cross related? I don't know, you know. So I remember actually, Adam, when we came across this, something called the Fourth Cup, which is that's not the only thing we're going to talk about today. But I remember being so mad because I went to Catholic schools, grade school and high school, and nobody told me this, right? So this is the stuff that it's like the Eucharist is what our faith is about. It's the most important thing. And this was what tied the redemptive act of Christ on the cross to what we do every day at Mass, right? This is a super important thing. So I'm just
that is frustrating,
through,
right? And even Dr. Brant Petrie in the book actually talks about how he gives lectures about this all the time, and one of the things that he almost guarantees he will hear at the end of it is, "I'm a Catholic, and why have I never heard this before?"
Right? I don't know,
and it's just a tragedy because if the Eucharist is the source and summit of our faith, then that should be the thing that we focus the most on in understanding the mystery of the Eucharist.
So to the USCCB's credit, they are like trying to organize a 3-year revival.
We're in the process.
Yeah, they call it a revival on the Eucharist, which I think is great. The cynic in me says, you know what, we'll see how they do. But I do like the fact that they are focusing on this. But I pray that it is just an outrageous success. Because the Eucharist is what it's all about.
Well, and it's very clear that the people in the pews do not understand the full meaning of what the Eucharist is.
Which I think is why they're doing it. You know?
Which is why I think this is good, right? So you see the people, you hear back from people who don't understand something about the faith, and so the bishops are reacting to say, okay, the majority of people, there's a problem here. The majority of people don't understand a specific portion of our faith. The portion that they don't understand, unfortunately, is the source and summit. Is
the whole reason to be Catholic,
right? And so we need to spend 3 full years,
which that's great. I mean, I'm excited
on the Eucharist to re-educate, to revitalize, to encourage the love and devotion of the Eucharist to those in the pews.
So you printed off my notes there. I'm just gonna kind of go through this here, Adam. Like I just jump in.
Okay.
Whenever
you want me to
at random.
Okay.
Okay. So the Eucharist you can find throughout all of the Bible. Okay. It goes all the way back to Genesis. When you go and read, especially the second creation account, it's very short. It's like, okay, God created man, then he needed a place to put man, so he created a garden. The very first thing that it mentions when the garden is created is the tree of life. Next to, in the middle of the garden was the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? Okay? And God told man, you can eat from any of the trees except for the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Okay? So here, Adam and Eve, living in the garden, they can eat freely from the tree of life. So the church fathers, and it's not hard to see the typology here, in that if they would have plucked the apple or the fruit from that tree, that would have been
the pomegranate,
like the pomegranate, whatever it is. Some say it was a fig, okay,
right.
But that would have been a Eucharistic act, right? That you would have been partaking in the divine. You would have been eating, like consummating the divine life, okay? Because here they are living in this state of grace that's just like really an outward living, right? It's not just an interior reality. It was this exterior relationship, right, where they walked with God physically.
Right.
It was beautiful.
Just mind blowing, actually, to even think about, like, meditate upon, like, what was that really actually like?
Oh man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so, what did Christ do when man pulled the fruit from the knowledge of good and evil and fell? Christ, his response was to descend to our level and said, okay, this is what you want. Fine, I will hang myself on a tree, and become your fruit, so that I might redeem you and bring you up to eternal life with me. You know, like he said, this is what you want. You want this food. I will become that. Become sin, so to speak, as St. Paul puts it, so that I might redeem you. And, you know, like, it's just the level of humility, the level of, like, everything in the incarnation is just mind-blowing. Okay, so a fun fact about the books of the New Testament is that now we call them the New Testament, but they used to be called the books of the New Testament, which might seem like a petty difference, but it's actually a profound difference, because the books of the New Testament means that the books themselves are not the Testament, which when we call it, read from the New Testament, it makes it seem like the books themselves are the Testament. Another word for testament is covenant. So there's the books of the Old Covenant and the books of the New Covenant. Well, the books are not the covenant themselves. They're simply writing about the covenant. So if they're simply writing about the covenant, what is it? It's the Eucharist, right? So this is what we know as Catholics. In the second book of the Bible, which is Exodus, not Genesis. Genesis is the first,
right?
Originally, the book of Exodus was called the Book of Names, because it was in that book where Moses received the name of God. That was what gave him so much power to do all these great miracles, is that he possessed the name of God, right? The height, obviously, of the Exodus story is Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt, okay? Leaving behind their slavery, which is a typology of oppression of sin, right? They're being enslaved to sin.
Not typography.
Not typography, because that's like something good, but it's like totally different thing.
Kind of like Israel, like leading them out of Israel. You can use
but
typography.
There was some typography that they had to encounter. Right. Yeah, a lot of typography, actually.
Right, but not typology.
And typology.
Right.
They were doing at the same time. It's a both and. Very Catholic.
Very Catholic.
Very Catholic with the typography thing. So, what happens? It's the Passover. The thing is that you come to realize is that Christ and God was foreshadowing the Eucharist even before the fall. Okay, so it goes to the tree of life. It seems like God's plan for humanity always involved this Eucharistic giving of Himself. It's only because of the fall that it required His death and persecution on the cross. So possibly if Adam and Eve had never fallen, Christ still would have taken on flesh and come and given us Himself. It just wouldn't have required His passion and death, right? Possibly. That's speculative. But so
there are three reasons why you're wrong. The second of the first is actually the most important.
Okay.
We'll go over that later.
Great. The second part of the second part?
No, the second part of the first part.
Oh, okay. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
So in the Exodus, you have this Passover, right? And the Passover is something that God specifically told the Israelites, all right, you need to do this. You need to take the blood of the lamb. You need to slaughter the lamb. The lamb has to be without blemish, right? It has to be a spotless lamb, a sinless lamb, so to speak. Put the blood on the door. You have to actually eat the lamb, okay?
All of the lamb.
All of it. Right?
Not just like eat it, like a bite.
Or if you couldn't, it had to be like burned up, right? You couldn't have any left over.
There's no leftover.
Okay, and so they also were eating unleavened bread. All of these things are foreshadowing the Lamb of God and the Eucharist. And here they are putting the blood on the doorpost, symbolizing which is very...
With a hyssop branch.
Right, exactly, which is also present at the cross. Jesus is there. The cross post, he's giving his blood on the cross post. It's sort of like the cross of the door, right? So...
the hyssop branch is what brings up the sponge.
That's right, which is important.
Right.
Very important.
Are we going to do that later?
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
I hope to get to that.
We'll see.
Okay, so then Moses leads them out into the desert, and they start receiving this manna, miraculous bread from heaven. And so we're going to pick up there because this is where the Jesus links really start to come in.
Because the bread has been there the whole time.
Could have been. Could be, bro.
We'll see.
I just like the smoky.
Yeah, me too. Do you have that in your notes? I can't remember because I read almost. You know what's amazing? I remember reading this book for the first time.
You can't put it down, can you?
Right, but I felt like it took me forever.
Oh, really?
To read it.
You went so slow through it?
Because I was just like, what?
Well, let me digest that.
Yeah.
But also it's like, what? Are you serious? He lays step by step in here.
Yeah.
And he kind of does the St. John Paul II where he'll circle back around to things, but he does it so logically and sequentially, okay, we're going to get a little bit closer, and now you need now more information to get closer and closer, and you just keep circling.
Right, the Bread of Life discourse in the Last Supper, all these things
I'm telling you, this book.
But I read.
Everybody needs to read this book.
I read through this. I read through this almost all today.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, I did not read every single word in this, right? But I'm just saying,
when you look at mine,
it's all script
and highlighted and starred. I mean, the whole thing.
But
just great.
But I was like, I probably need to refresh myself, and I started going through and it's oh yeah, I remember this. Oh yeah, I remember this, and I just kept going through. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, this part's so good.
Right.
Oh yes.
So anyway, all right, let's keep rolling.
We need to get Brant on the show,
dude. I reached out to him a while back ago. Actually, this is probably pre-COVID, so 3-4 years ago. But he wasn't
like that.
Yeah, but he wasn't traveling at the time.
I don't care. Well, we'll just pay him more or something. I don't know. You're rich, right?
No, I work for the church.
I forgot. Dang it.
Listen, bro, I'm banking on the retirement plan of working for the church.
Do you know any Colombian rich people?
Afterlife plan.
That's right. Afterlife plan.
We can talk about the episode after the episode.
Oh right, yeah, we should probably talk about that when we're not on live or something.
I don't want to drop it in.
Do you have any of Escobar's descendants?
I do have a mustache, so
pretty good one.
Not sure what that's gonna get you.
I don't know either. I'm David Niles. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I was about to say something. I was like, oh, wait. We're starting. What I was going to say is, we got a lot here. I'm not sure we're going to get to it all. We'll try to get to it all after the episode for those of you who are subscribed to the podcast.
Sorry. This is our first time. I'm sorry. We're
rookies.
Yeah.
Last segment.
This is the last segment. Okay, so we're talking about the manna in the desert. The manna in the desert is an obvious foreshadowing of Christ and instituting the Eucharist.
Right.
Okay? You know who else thought that? The Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just crazy. So the Jewish people, afterwards, right? So in the time after the Exodus, there's a long space between that and Christ coming back, and in that time, a lot of the rabbis had written a lot of extra biblical sources, sort of like the Catechism, right? That we would refer to today. So there's the Talmud, and then there's also the Targum, I think is what it is. I have it written down here.
Targum.
Targum, right. So these are, the Targum was the translation that they were using at the time, which had some things that aren't in, the modern texts of today that were, either added in as commentary or for whatever reason. They're today we would say, well, these are actually part of the original manuscripts.
Mm-hmm.
But the Jewish people believed three things about the manna, the miraculous bread from heaven. The one funny thing is that the word manna is in Hebrew is manhu, which means what is it?
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's hilarious.
Manhu?
Manhu, because they're finding this miraculous bread on the ground, and they say,
well, what is it?
What is it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally named what is it?
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So the three things that they believed that it became part of the faith about this manna was that it was supernatural. Obviously, I mean, I think that's kind of obvious. But they also had this understanding, which we as Catholics would also share, that supernatural realities
supersede.
They're more real,
right,
than natural realities, because the natural world will pass away, but the supernatural realities are eternal. Okay,
take that, John Locke.
Yeah, take that. You're such a brave man, Adam. The second thing was that this manna from heaven was pre-existent. Okay, so we get this here. This is from the Targum. So like in Exodus 16, verse 4, it says, "And the Lord said to Moses, Behold, I will bring down for you bread from heaven." And in the Targum, it has the phrase, "which has been reserved for you from the beginning." Okay, so we don't find that in the original text of Exodus, but in this translation, the Targum was a translation of the Hebrew scriptures that they used in the synagogues at the time. So they added this, "which has been reserved from you from the beginning." Also in Exodus 16, verse 15, it says, "When the children of Israel saw it, they were amazed, and they said to one another, 'What is it?' For they did not know what it was. And Moses said to them," and this is the part that is not found in our translation today, but it says, "It is the bread that was reserved for you from the beginning in the heavens on high." So this shows that this was a belief that this manna, this miraculous bread, was a pre-existent reality that was reserved in what they kind of called like the heavenly tabernacle. The third thing that they believed is that when the Messiah came, he would bring back the manna from heaven. Okay, so that's pretty interesting, that they linked when the Messiah's return, that he would bring back the manna from heaven. So like things like when you see Jesus performing the feeding of the 5,000.
The gospel of sharing.
The gospel of sharing, yeah, the sharing miracle, right? When he convinced everyone to share the food that they miraculously had on them. No. What do they do right after that? They try to crown him a king.
Right.
Because they recognize, okay, look, he just multiplied the bread and the loaves and the fish. Mm-hmm. This is like a sign of him bringing back the manna from heaven. Also,
it's very awesome that in that you can correlate that story with also John 6, right? So he took the bread, he blessed it, he gave thanks, he broke the bread. Uh-huh. Sound very familiar to John 6?
Yeah.
Like the parallels between what happens at the feeding of the 5,000 with John 6 mm-hmm. is you can just see it side by side and see it's a foreshadowing of what is to come.
Another thing which is just really great. So when his disciples ask him, Jesus, teacher, teach us how to pray. You know, John's disciples taught him how to pray. How should we pray? He says, he teaches them the Our Father.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so in there, when he says the word "our daily bread," the word "daily" is a just terrible translation in English. Because the word that he uses was epiousios. It's Greek. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's a weird word. Okay?
Ask Jimmy Aiken.
Right, he'll tell
Call
you.
Catholic Answers.
But this word is what you call a neologism. It's a new neologism, so it's like a new word.
Okay.
This word appears in no other. There's no other use of this word. Okay, so it's very hard to translate because we've never seen it translated anywhere else.
Dude, I would like to make a new word.
Saint Jerome translate this word, what we call daily, which is, Brant Petrie explains how terrible of a translation that is, as Saint Jerome used the word supersubstantial. Give us this day our supersubstantial bread, which is a totally different ring from our daily bread, okay? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, it's like, okay, we're talking about a heavenly bread, like a miraculous divine bread. Sounds a lot like the manna from heaven. So it's no wonder that right after that, what did the Jews ask him for a miracle? They say, show us a miracle that we might believe. And
which is funny because didn't he just do that? He literally just did that for you.
He's been doing miracles literally the whole time,
mm-hmm.
right? And you want another sign. So anyway, that's the three things. And just like Moses gave this miraculous bread to the Israelites after leaving Egypt, but before arriving at the Promised Land, right? Like the miraculous mm-hmm. bread stops when they get to the Promised Land. Christ gives us this miraculous bread after his crucifixion and death, but before we also reach the Promised Land of heaven. Okay, so it's this miraculous food for the journey. The parallels they keep going. I'm only kind of giving the highlights here between these
in
things
hopes that you actually pick up the book itself.
Right. You definitely need to read
But isn't it interesting also, Dave, what St. John reveals to us in Revelation, what he sees. So God gives him this glorious vision of heaven, of what's happening in heaven, right? Which is epic.
Yeah.
Here on earth, you're getting a chance to see what the other side of the veil looks like.
Yeah.
And what he sees is what?
He sees the Lamb as slain.
The Lamb as slain.
Right, as the Son of Man standing as though slain.
Right, and so this is just exactly what we've just been talking about, like this Jewish foundation, the Jewish roots of the Passover.
Mm-hmm.
God could have revealed to St. John in Revelation, I think it's 3 and 4, all of these, a lot of different aspects of what heaven looks like. Right, the beatific vision, understanding the communion of the saints.
Right, he could have just given it by divine light, and by divine, he could have just revealed the truth.
Right, but he knew.
He uses these symbols, these typology, and
this understanding,
cryptic way of,
and this understanding of him being able to actually convey this to the other people, because obviously God knew that St. John was going to be writing Revelation,
right? And
so to give him this vision that would not only help him understand what actually is happening in heaven, but also to convey it. Because all the visions of heaven, if you look at the saints that actually have had this vision, they basically say, I'm no longer writing because I can't explain anymore.
Right, like St. Thomas.
Right. It's
he looked at the tomb and said, it's just straw.
It's just straw. I can't do this anymore, right? But God gave him the grace to see heaven, but not only see heaven for himself, but also
to convey it in a way that would help them to come to these deeper truths.
Exactly.
Okay, so I want to try to get to this fourth cup. I want to talk about the Passover ritual itself. Okay. So
I think that's beautiful. By the way,
the fourth cup. This is the crux of the matter right here. That in the Passover ritual,
it's Paul Harvey's The Rest of the Story.
Now you know the rest of the story.
Right.
So there were 4 cups that you would drink, 4 cups of wine. There was really a lot of the Passover ritual is really a beautiful ritual, and in fact, a lot of the prayers that you say it's wow, that's almost exactly what we say in the Mass. But there were 4 cups of wine that you would drink.
So this is the Passover.
This is the Passover ritual. So when Christ is there celebrating Passover with his apostles, when Jews of his time would celebrate the Passover, which was the holiest day of the year for them, right? Because this is the moment of their salvation, right? Mm-hmm. And they also believed that when they celebrate the Passover, it wasn't just our ancestors. They believed no, Christ or God saved me out of Egypt is the way they would say it. Not like my great
it was their first person
grandfather, right? It was me. That is just something that happened to me. So the first cup, during the ritual, they would drink a cup of wine to share it with everybody. Then they would do some stuff, say some prayers, have another cup of wine, right? So the first cup is the cup of sanctification. They would call it the Kiddush cup, or the cup of thanksgiving. Then they would do some things like dipping parsley and some other rituals. But then they would have another cup, the cup of judgment or deliverance. Okay, it was right after this that they would actually eat the lamb. Okay, where along with the unleavened bread, and it was during this cup that Jesus took the bread. They would eat the lamb and the unleavened bread. So when you go and you read the Passover, the Last Supper, after this second cup, this is where Jesus took the bread and said, "This is my body, given up for you. Take, eat this in memory of, do this in memory of me." Then would come the cup of redemption, also called the cup of blessing. And so that's where Jesus took the blood and said, "This is the cup of my new covenant," blah, 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 blah. The fourth cup, they skip.
It didn't happen.
They go out into the Garden of Gethsemane. I mean, this would be like a priest about to celebrate the Eucharist, consecrate the Eucharist, and then just walking out.
Before the consecration.
Okay. So sadly, we're going to have to finish this on the podcast. So go and subscribe to our podcast, thecatholicmanshow.com, to get the rest of the story. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers. Hey, so before we get going,
I'm kind of bummed we didn't get to it on the show.
Yeah,
that's okay. That's okay. It's still it's really great.
You know what? I just came to the realization as you were talking, is that as we're going through the Passover ritual, it's very similar to what prayer is.
Oh, do tell.
So it's a Thanksgiving. So you're giving thanks.
Oh,
and then it's
kind of the same pattern.
Yeah, it's the same pattern. Like the judgment, deliverance, like a contrition. I'm sorry for my sins, and then then the next one is redemption. Like, so it's like contrition, and then so thanksgiving and contrition have happened. Adoration, like,
yeah,
like I was just like going through this and was like, oh wait, this is actually very similar to the pattern of prayer.
Yeah, that's a great insight. That's very true. I like that.
I don't know. It was just like as you were talking about that. That's what I was.
Don't you love it when stuff like that happens and you realize, man, how does he do that? How does God like layer all of these things, which are pretty obvious? How does he layer it over and over and over again, and we don't see it,
right,
until we like approach it and
it's not exact, but I mean, I'm just sitting there going through it. It's there. It's like,
yeah, that's crazy.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, in the Passover, there's 4 cups, right?
Yeah.
So
and you know what? One thing that was like really surprised me, which I've like studied and talked about this before, but that the body, like this is my body, and that this is my blood. These are like different stages.
Right. The first is the body, and then the second is the blood.
Right. And so there's
Wait, before we do, I just feel like we haven't really explained what the cups are like. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
like,
you're right. I was trying to like rush to get it in.
Right. I just don't feel like.
So they're there at the Passover. There would be all of these really beautiful things that like the youngest person would say, like some prayers.
Ask questions.
Like, why is this night different from other nights?
Right.
And then the leader would say, because on this night I was redeemed. Like I don't know what word for word.
The Lord
took
me out of Egypt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it really was a beautiful, beautiful ritual and
tradition.
Yeah, but for them, like this was the height of their religion.
Right.
This is one of the days that all Jewish men were required to journey and come back to Jerusalem, because Jerusalem was this massive city. A lot of Jews lived there, but a lot of them didn't. A lot of them lived out, in the farms, which were maybe miles, maybe 100 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Could be very, very far, and so. There were a few times a year that they all had to come back. This was the highest of feasts.
Mm-hmm.
And so they all of the men at least are going to be here in Jerusalem. The counts, like the historical accounts, are that there would have been millions of lambs slaughtered in one day.
So what's crazy is that Jesus has seen this.
He's grown up.
He's grown up seeing this
as a boy.
Every year, seeing all these lambs go by for slaughter.
And you know what else is crazy is the way that they would cook the lambs. So they would slaughter the lambs, pour the blood on the altar. There would literally be a river of blood.
Right.
Imagine slaughtering millions. Think about that. I don't think people realize how many Jews there were, but each household was responsible for a lamb.
Mm-hmm.
And so millions, not 1 million, more than 1 million lambs, their blood being spilled on the altar. And so there was like a river of blood flowing out, which you mentioned Revelation.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of his vision, is seeing this river of blood.
That's right.
Flowing
redeeming
out. Yes. I'm really excited about the church being built in Stillwater,
yes.
because they're like that river of blood is integral to the way that they're building the church. Go check it out. But anyway, so here's Jesus. Yeah, like you mentioned, growing up as a boy, he knows his destiny, right?
Right.
Like even from an infant, he knew who he was. It's not like he had to discover when he was 12 or 13, like, oh, I'm the Christ. He knew.
Right.
Okay? He still had to learn certain things, and like his human nature still had to like learn to walk, learn to like do things. He had to practice. But that was all an act of humility from him as a divine person, because he could have just done them perfectly if he wanted to, but he wanted to become fully man. So imagine, here he is as a boy and growing up every year, coming to Jerusalem and seeing millions of lambs slaughtered. So then what they would do is they would crucify the lambs.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know at the time that they were crucifying them, but they would put their front arms out in a cruciform pattern and run a shiv through their shoulder blades, and roast them with their arms out, and then their back feet would come to a point. So literally they would be in a T, and they would roast them that way.
Not only that, but it's like it's not that the crucifixion was a new invention, right? So it's not like that was the first time. In fact, I think Brant Petrie actually says this in the book. He says like Jesus saw what a crucifixion was.
Oh yeah,
as it, like that has
growing up.
That has been
he
that
grew
had
up under
happened.
Roman rule,
right? So that happened all the time,
right?
So not only did he see at the Passover millions of lambs coming in, but he also saw before the Passover, because they wanted to make sure to crucify all the bad guys before and get them down before Passover. So he not only saw all the lambs coming in, but he also saw all the criminals hanging on crosses.
Right, and a lot of times they were just left dead. Like when you came into Jerusalem,
right?
They would intentionally hang them there, like put them there
as a sign.
And if it was a Roman, I think like Jesus may have been a little different. I don't know this. This is just a speculation, but because they were like, he was crucified on their account, he wanted them taken down. But the Romans, if they kill somebody, they don't care about Passover. You know what I mean? Like if the Romans are killing somebody because they broke a Roman law, like the Jews don't get to say like, hey, take that guy down. They're like, no. You know, so like maybe they did. I don't know. But I suspect that there's kind of a difference there. But regardless, when you came into Jerusalem, on either side of the road, there were dead crucified bodies.
Right.
As a sign, like, don't mess with us, right? So, and then you come in, especially on the Passover, there's all these crucified lambs. Jesus grew up watching them, knowing, I am the lamb.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is my destiny. And then, like, you know, embracing that. Like, that's just crazy.
Right.
It really is just very crazy. So, in this Passover ritual, there's all of these cups. You know, we're drinking the wine. Wine itself is a symbol of abundance and like this overflowing of grace, which is part of what we see at the first miracle of Christ, that the superabundance of wine, which is once again a symbol of like good things, of blessing. Wine is like a symbol of blessing. And so you're drinking this 4 times. Even the second cup, which is called the cup of judgment or deliverance, it was done out of joy, because yes, like some people might even call it the cup of plagues, but that Christ delivered us from this judgment, that we have been saved, and so even that was a joyful, like something that was done out of like God's mercy. Then the cup of redemption. And so once again, let's go back. The first cup is the cup of sanctification. This is kind of setting up the ritual. The second cup is this cup of judgment or deliverance. And this is where, after this, the lamb is eaten, which once again, you had to eat the lamb. If you don't eat the lamb, then you're not actually participating in the Passover.
Firstborn will die.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And think about that wasn't the case later on. Right. But in their first Passover, yep. All right, well, how much do you love your son?
You know what? Ritual matters.
It does. Matters a lot. You know what else I think about when I think about ritual mattering? Mattering is Moses
holding his hands out. So that way people don't die?
Right. And, okay, it matters so much. God seems to be pretty legalistic. That, okay, Aaron and...
Jacob.
No.
Aaron and
Joshua.
Yeah.
He's like, who takes over after?
I knew it was
Joshua.
Jay. Yeah.
They sit there so he can rest his arms on their shoulders. It's like, really, God? You know, like, come on, cut Moses some slack. He's doing the best he can. He's putting in a good effort. You know, but you know, there he is in a crucifixion pattern, right? So, like, once again, foreshadowing Christ's work.
Right.
But the fact that it just matters that his arms are like this, like the ritual matters. Why? Right. Because it gives glory to God.
It gives, as much justice as we can to who is due.
Right. God is glorified in the ritual because God has ordained the ritual to point to himself. Right. And so the rituals that we do at the Mass are important because they teach us something about who Christ is, what he has done for us, and why it is important for us to know that.
And it's not up to us to decide what goes on in the Mass.
I know. That's why sometimes I want to nitpick us, like, okay, should we be holding hands during the Our Father? Well, we're not supposed to.
Right.
Okay? Because that's not part of the rite.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't invent things for us to do. If people hold hands during the Our Father, that's okay. I'm not, it's not going to invalidate the Mass, or, it's not going to ruin the Mass for me, right? But the truth is, we're not instructed to hold hands during the Our Father of the Mass. It's not part of the Mass. And so if we're doing it and expecting other people to do it, or if we do it because we think we're supposed to, well, we're not. Mm-hmm. If you want to hold your wife's hand during the Our Father, that's great. You can also hold her hand during any other part of the Mass. But if you're standing next to me and you think that I'm going to hold hands with you, I'm not going to hold hands with you at any point during the Mass because I'm not told to, right? And also, I don't really know you. And so, I'm not ready to, I'm not there yet, okay?
This stage of our relationship.
You have to at least buy me a beer before I will hold your hand during the Mass, okay? Am I right? Okay, right? So let's just get back to these cups.
Okay.
Okay, because once again, I think it was surprising to me that this is my body and this is my blood are different stages.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is important because think about what this means if a person says, hey, this is my body over here. This is my blood over here.
Typically, that means they're dead.
Right, yeah, because if your body and your blood aren't in the same spot, you dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just that simple fact of him separating his body from his blood is him saying his death. It's foreshadowing his death. So in this third cup, the cup of redemption, also called the cup of blessing, which is important because Paul says, this cup of blessing which we break, this cup of blessing which we drink, is it not a participation in the blood of Christ, right? The Jews also used this cup to symbolize the blood of the Passover lamb. So they believed that this third cup, they've just eaten the body of the lamb, and that this third cup was symbolic of the blood of the lamb. Can you believe that? It's incredible that that's a weird thing. It makes sense for us,
especially for Jews,
right?
They weren't allowed to eat or drink blood.
They weren't allowed to drink blood. But think about, try to divorce yourself from a Christian and Catholic worldview, where we understand, you're just a Jew. It's kind of weird to think about, hey, this cup, it's lamb blood.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense for us because we know who the lamb is. But this is where Jesus says, this cup is the new covenant of my blood, which is shed for you. Once again, he uses that word new covenant, or this is the New Testament of my blood. So when we talk about the books of the New Testament, it's all about the Eucharist, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If there's no Eucharist, there's no point in writing any of these books. And it's at this point where they leave. I think actually they may have sung a song and then left, which would have just been a huge scandal. If any of the Pharisees had been present,
it would have gone down.
They would have been tearing their shirts. They would have been.
Can we bring that back?
I think we should.
Hulk Hogan has had a thought there.
You don't have to ask me twice.
Juan, if anybody's going to rip their shirt,
we know.
It's going to be you. And if you do it at the right moment, it would be I would back you up.
Mm-hmm. If you do it at the wrong moment, I will not.
Walk away. Who's that guy?
Yeah, I don't know him.
I tell you, I don't know him.
Yeah.
You must have been with him. You too are no.
No, I'm not a Tulsan.
No, no, General Lady at this charcoal fire. I tell you, I do not know him.
I have never been to Tulsa.
Curse you! Okay, so the last cup was called the cup of Hallel. And this is the one that Jesus skips. Once again, this is like a priest about to consecrate the Eucharist and then walking out and saying, all right, let's get out of here. It's no, you can't do that. Right. Think about how scandalizing that would be, right? So
think about how confused you'd be as an apostle.
Yes. It's is this allowed?
Right. What is going on?
I get it. I know that Jesus is don't question him.
Right.
Because we've actually done that before, remember,
And
guys? And it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea.
Right.
So what do though? Like go back and read the account. They go to the Garden of Gethsemane.
Mm-hmm.
There's this last cup that they were supposed to drink. What is Jesus's prayer?
That this cup may
Let
pass.
this cup pass from me. Okay. He literally meant this cup of the Passover ritual. So the Passover, this ritual that was pointing to Jesus the whole time. He is the Lamb of God
who takes away
the sins of the world. And this last cup was also considered the cup of consummation, which I think is important because Jesus is called the bridegroom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what does the bridegroom do on his wedding day? He consummates. He consummates his with his bride, right? That the two
become one.
The two might become one flesh. And here we are eating his flesh, okay? Because he has consummated it with us.
Mm-hmm.
So think about this. Then he goes, he turns himself in, he's arrested, he's scourged, flogged, he's on the cross. The last thing that he says before it is finished is, I thirst. There's been a lot of spiritual writing written about those words. And Mother Teresa, I think, has a lot of beautiful things to say that Christ is thirsting for our souls on the cross. But literally, okay, you have to really put yourself here. He's been on the cross now for 3 hours. His lungs are filling with blood. He is on the verge of death. Every single word would involve just extreme agony. And his words on the cross are very few and very specifically chosen for very important reasons.
Right. It's like, you think that he wasn't thirsty carrying the cross?
Right.
You think he wasn't thirsty as he was being...
Or like an hour ago?
Right.
Or 2 hours ago?
Because also, like, in the Passover, you're fasting. Right before the Passover, you're fasting. So, like...
Correct.
You're fasting. You've had just a couple cups of wine.
Yeah, I mean, he's got very little blood in his body. I mean, think of all the blood he's spilled. He was probably insanely thirsty this whole time,
right?
Because his fluid level.
So it's not like
he's dehydrated.
It's not like
to the point of death,
right? And it's not like he's all of a sudden realizing, oh, now I'm thirsty.
You know what? I'm a little bit parched.
Right.
Before I die, I think I'd like to have a drink.
Right, but that's not what he's saying.
Because right before this fourth cup, I kind of skipped over this. After the third cup, when he says, "This is my blood. Do this in memory of me," he tells his apostles, I will not drink of the cup again until I drink it anew in my kingdom. Okay, so he's saying, I won't drink wine again until I have fulfilled the kingdom. So here he is on the cross, and he says, I thirst. And what do?
The hyssop branch.
They raise up a hyssop branch.
Just like in the Passover.
Just like the Passover.
They take a hyssop branch and pour the blood over the beam of their door. Mm-hmm. They take a hyssop branch, stab it with a sponge with wine mixed with gall,
which is called gall. It's like a very common. This is like the lowest grade of wine. It's sort of like almost vinegar. Mm-hmm. And if you remember, they were offered it to him before, but when he knew what it was, he wouldn't take it.
Right.
So they tried to give him wine already, and it's important that he denies it because he wanted it. He wanted it. Once again, his body was craving all kinds of things.
Right.
So like to be able to deny it, his body, that must have been an incredible suffering. So, but then here he is. He finally asks for it. He drinks the wine, and then he says, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. Because he had now completed the gift. He had completed the offering. The Passover is now finished. So when we say that the Mass and the crucifixion are all linked together, it's because it's all in the same ritual. It is.
The thing is it's only one thing. It's only one
same thing. That the Eucharist, his body and blood, we partake of his crucified body and blood, as well as his resurrected body and blood. Okay, like it's both and that we are not represented. We are represented at the cross at every Mass, because this cup of blessing which we drink, is it not a participation in the blood of Christ? Because we are there at the cross in every Mass, because it is the part of the same ritual. The Passover all in one at every Mass.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't finished. So then, this is something Scott Hahn says. He drinks it and he says, "It is finished."
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that was, like, I think, important in his conversion, because he realized, wait, it's not finished.
That's not the ritual.
You have to rise from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's not finished.
Mm-hmm.
What is finished? Obviously, something's finished. Christ wouldn't say it's finished if something wasn't finished. So what is finished? The Passover.
Mm-hmm.
He has now consummated himself to his bride, the church. He has given her every drop of his blood. And so now he is in his kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I just love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Eucharist. Like,
Right.
this is, if you're not Catholic, this is what you're missing out on. Christ is truly present in the Eucharist at every single Catholic Mass. All you have to do is look up the closest Catholic church to where you are, and you just go there tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. It's like,
and this is a reality. If you're not Catholic, then please don't present yourself for communion, because there are things that you need to do first. There are steps that come first. But this is a reality at every single Catholic Mass in the world for the last 2,000 years.
And we do it every day.
We do it every single day all over the world.
It's like if you heard that there were visions of Jesus, like public visions happening of Jesus in your town. And you're like
he was appearing to everybody who showed up on 4th Street.
Right. And you're like, what? At 6 p.m.? Okay, I'm going to be there.
Right.
It's like, instead of doing that, all you have to do is go to a Catholic church. Because inside that Catholic church is the tabernacle, and inside that tabernacle is the body, blood, soul, and divinity of our Lord.
Jesus truly present in a physical way.
In a physical way. And
under
so,
the appearance of bread and wine.
Right. And so I just encourage, the guys who are listening right now, if you don't have an adoration hour, I encourage you to take one up.
That's right.
Because
that's good advice.
Because your prayer life matters, and like sitting in front of the Blessed Sacrament, who is the body, blood, soul, and divinity of our Lord, spending time, wasting time with our Lord, is an invaluable. Like this is what heaven is.
Yeah.
And if you're looking to be the spiritual leader of your family, if you're looking to help your family,
then you need to be in touch with the source of spiritual grace.
Right, which is our Lord.
Yeah.
So,
you're right, Adam. That's correct. I'd like to award you 5 points.
I'll take them. 5
more points than anybody else got today. Unless you want to give me some points. I feel like I could have earned some points.
Today?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'll give you 3.
Thank you. Okay.
I think we can end it there.
I will take those 3 points, sir. Yeah, but Adam, thank you. Just want to echo what you said. Please go and worship our Lord in adoration. If you are not Catholic,
you can still do that.
You can still go to adoration. You can still go to any Catholic church and pray. Jesus is there. He will make himself known to you.
And he's been waiting for 2,000 years for the moment of you walking in to spend time with him.
Here's what I want you to do if you're not Catholic. I want you to get on Google Maps, type in Catholic Church, and you call the closest one to you. The person who answers the phone, you're going to say, I'm not Catholic, I want to speak to the priest. They are going to give you the priest, or they're going to have him call you back right away, and you're going to tell that person what I told you today, and you're going to tell them, I'd like more information about becoming Catholic. This is going to change your life. You're welcome.
And then we get to spend eternity together
and
in
I
heaven.
cannot wait to see you in heaven.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. I hope I get there.
Pray for us.
I plan to get